Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation of insights from the future for continual learning. I will first describe the present continual learning setting we created in this paper. In continual learning, we learn incrementally different tasks, and we are also limited in the amount of data from previous tasks that we can review. We learn the first task, like any supervised problem. Then we learn the second task. To avoid forgetting of previous classes, we usually adopt rehearsal learning, and we also often do regularization, like knowledge distillation, to reduce this forgetting. But as we learn more tasks, the risk of forgetting is higher. Therefore, we need an important regularization factor to stabilize the model predictions, which in turn negatively affect the performance of the new task. It is harder to learn new classes. Al-Jundi proposed in a paper the notion of selfless network, a neural network leaving enough capacity to learn new classes. They propose to do so in an implicit manner using sparsity loss. But we aim to do it explicitly. In order to have a more or less selfless network, we need a prior on what the future will be, so we can prepare our network to incorporate new pieces of knowledge. The prior of future classes can be expressed through the characteristic of a phylogenetic tree. We can find this kind of tree in the metadata of ImageNet and iNaturalist datasets. Or more simply, we can extend our model with the word knowledge extracted from an encyclopedia, like Word2Vec from Wikipedia. Actually, any kind of metadata can be used. I'm going to detail our new setting called present continual learning can allow us to exploit prior from the future. Our model has access to the metadata of all classes, which act as a prior on the future. After training on a task, we evaluate our model on all classes, both seen and unseen. This is akin to a setting called generalized zero-shot learning. The remainder of the training is similar to continual learning, but still, at any tasks, we have access to all metadata and must evaluate on all classes. The model, after step 1 and step 2, must predict both seen and unseen classes. However, at the final step, all classes are seen. This is our general strategy. The first class is classic. We simply learn our model on it. But at the end of all tasks, we're going to train a generator. Practically, we train a generative model called Generative Moment Matching Network. This generator learns to generate features of seen classes given their metadata and a noise vector. We then optimize the maximum mean discrepancy loss between the real features and the fake features of seen classes. Once the generator is trained, we generate fake features, but this time from unseen classes of the future. Then we train our model on the concatenation of the real features of seen classes and the fake features of unseen classes. This training is done with two losses, a modification of the NCA loss and an SVM-based regularization. The latter uses multiple SVM to compute hyperplanes between a ghost class from the future and the other class. The regularization then enforces exclusion zones so that the current class doesn't take a position that will be taken later by future classes. We do a toy experiment on split MNIST with a small MLP. The feature dimension is there of size 2. Therefore, the class embedding you see on the picture are the reality and not a distorted version of Disney. The two ghost classes on the bottom row are highlighted by a circle. Incorporating those insights from task 2 allows us to avoid interference once we learn the actual classes in task 3. We also do experiments on AW2 and APY. Those two datasets provide metadata about the characteristics of the classes. We evaluate our model with two variants called PodNet and Lucien. We show there the average incremental accuracy, which is the average performance after each task. The large gain of performance can be partially explained because of the ability of our model to predict both seen and unseen classes. But this table is more interesting. It represents the final accuracy, meaning the performance of the model at the final task. At this point, all classes are seen. And thus, our model doesn't have any more an advantage provided by zero-shot. Nevertheless, our model has a significant gain of performance. This gain shows the interest of our method to learn selfless network that forget less, while having enough capacity to learn well new classes. Thank you for listening.